Today's session is all about LinkedIn. Today, we're going to be learning how to use LinkedIn. We're going to learn how to grow our network using LinkedIn. And we're going to learn how to use LinkedIn to promote ourselves and our businesses because it's a great social media tool and it's a great social network. Why LinkedIn and what does it do for you? LinkedIn has many different use cases. It's a huge company. It's a big social media. It's amongst the top, right next to Facebook and Instagram, and Twitter and all of the other social medias. But there are things that LinkedIn has that people keep coming back to it because of those things. The first thing is it's our gateway to the professional world. So every professional that you can think of from any business, all the CEOs, all the entrepreneurs, they're all on LinkedIn. So it's a great place to find and connect with people based on their professions and professional interests. The second one is that it's a great way for us to stay informed. It's a great place to find communities related to the industries you're working in or are interested in working in. And it's fantastic in order to actually keep up to date with the industry events, what's happening, what are all the latest tools and trends that are going on, and all the industry news. And the last one is that it's a great place to get noticed because the same way that you go on LinkedIn to try and find people that you could connect with, other people are there to do that too. And you could be one of the people that they would want to connect with. So in those terms, LinkedIn is a great place to be. LinkedIn is huge. Every second there are two new members joining LinkedIn. There is a user base of almost 700 million, and a lot of companies are on there as well. So you can actually find and connect with companies too, but we'll get to that later on. You know other social medias, you know Facebook and Instagram, but let's dive a little bit deeper into how do they differ from LinkedIn. While you can have business pages on Facebook and LinkedIn, on Facebook and Instagram and other social media, those are mainly for your business to connect with customers. Whereas in LinkedIn is not solely a place to connect with customers, but it's a place to connect with vendors, with suppliers, with potential investors, potential employees, if you're hiring for your business. And in those regards, having a business page on LinkedIn, it's quite a game changer in terms of what it enables your business to do. Aside from that, your own personal profile on LinkedIn, you don't necessarily share a lot of personal information, like what did you have for food, for lunch, or where did you go on a holiday, but rather you talk about your professional life. So what were your latest career achievements? Maybe you just finished a course, or maybe you attended an industry event that you would like to talk about, and maybe your friends on Instagram aren't very happy to keep receiving those updates, but on LinkedIn, those are very acceptable things to share. So that's how it's different. Now, there are 4 short steps to actually making your LinkedIn profile. First thing is you need to set up an account. You need to sign up with your email address and register an account. And then it will ask you a bunch of questions following up your sign up. And filling those questions will actually create your personal profile, which is all about you and your professional history, your academic history, your achievements, and such. And the next step from that, once you have a personal profile, is you want to start connecting with other people. You can start by adding all the people that you know, such as us here, or also your mentor and your coach in your program. You can connect with them on LinkedIn. And the fourth kind of like step in the LinkedIn journey is to actually start to find communities and groups that you would be interested in, and using and connecting with them and joining those groups and joining the conversations that are happening in the world of LinkedIn, because it's a great way to network and meet new people who have shared interests, and maybe you can learn from or teach them something. And the entire journey starts with your story. So you have to think about really once you start working on your LinkedIn profile, who are you and how would you like to present yourself to the professional world? So this is where kind of like thinking about your journey and what you think, um, what kind of audience you would like to have and what you think they would find interesting or be interested in learning about you. It's all part of the process, and it's not a kind of like a fixed thing. You can constantly keep evolving a LinkedIn profile. Like I've been on LinkedIn for years, and I know I'm still changing things and kind of like trying to frame myself in a better light and kind of like improving my story and building upon it and sharing more about the things that I've done. Now, there are some key things that you would like to that you have to like keep in mind, and this is an example of how LinkedIn is usually used. Um, so everybody who's on LinkedIn, they're investing their time into a social media where um, the aim of it, the goal of it is to build professional relationships and to build connections. You can start telling people about yourself. For example, what kind of experience do you have in what kind of jobs? What are your top skills? What are you experienced in? And what are your aspirations? What would you like to do someday? Or if you're looking for a job or if you're looking to connect with specific people, you can have all of those things inside of your profile and it will make it easier for other people to find you. And these are also the things that you can use to find other people who might be of a like mind. Now, LinkedIn is similar to a CV at first glance because it has all of your work history, all of your achievements, but it's also quite different because it's not targeted to one single employer, but rather it's a public profile where anybody can come and visit your profile and learn about you and your experiences. And it's much deeper than a one-page CV because you can actually get into a lot of detail about the things you've done and the things you've achieved and the things you've learned in your journey. Um, and it's a lot more interactive than a CV because you can add people, you can send them messages, you can like their posts, you can share their posts. So it's quite different than a CV, even though at first glance it kind of includes one. Now, our first step for today will be to actually visit linkedin.com. Now we will drop this in the chat if that's okay with you, Ellie, if you can do that. So all you have to do is visit linkedin.com or download the apps on Android and iOS, and you're good to start. To set up, once you set up your account on linkedin.com, the first thing you want to do is add a picture. So maybe start scrolling to your phone as we go through the session and go into the breakout room to actually look into what kind of pictures you want to use and try and use pictures that are professional. The backgrounds are plain. And if you work in a specific industry or in a specific type of job, you can also try and dress accordingly with that. And there are some good tips as well, such as have a smile and a friendly expression, and make sure that your face actually takes up the majority of the frame. Now, once we go into the profile, we've added our picture, we've added our name. Now, the next thing that LinkedIn has is our headline. And this is an opportunity for us to tell people who we are, what we do. And as you can see in this picture, from these individuals who are here, you can see there's a sentence underneath where their name's supposed to be, and it's been blurred, that they talk about what it is that they do. So this is called the headline, and you need to think of one for yourself. And this is a way to quickly and in a short amount of time convey to other people what it is that you do, what are you interested in, and generally just help them get to know you better at a quick glance. After our headline, it's time to add our education. So if you've had any formal education, this is the time to put it in. details of any degrees you've received or any other qualifications, there is room to add it all. We will go into the breakout rooms, and when this section comes up, our facilitators will kind of like guide you through adding your experiences. Um, it's part of the form that you fill in, and it's just you have to select what kind of like degree it is. And there's a lot of questions on the forms, but it's all very intuitively designed so that it's quite simple to quickly be able to tell what it is that they're asking for. So nothing complicated about it. You want to add your work and volunteer experiences. So if you've had any paid jobs or if you've had any volunteering experiences, put them in. It's great. Add a little bit of a few sentences or a couple of paragraphs, maybe some bullet points. Talk about what you've done, what your experiences were, what your responsibilities were, and what did the job entail. This is kind of like where if you're applying to jobs through LinkedIn, this bit is quite a great one, and you want to make sure that you focus on it extra. You can add your skills, and once you add a skill, so for example, you can add public speaking as a skill or photography if you're a photographer, and you can get other people to actually endorse you. And this is when somebody who knows you comes and vouches for you on your profile that, hey, I know that this person is a great photographer, and here's an endorsement for them. So the more endorsements that you have, it's kind of like a social validation tactic used by LinkedIn, and it's actually a great way of making sure that our profiles stand out compared to others. Now, outside of the profile headline and our name, we also have a summary that we can add to our profiles, which is a short summary about you. It's kind of like your elevator pitch and what it is that you do, what are your interests, your aspirations, and your goals. For example, if you've just started a business, you can talk about that in this section, and you can be like, hey, like I'm very passionate about changing the food industry, and we're looking to do these kind of foods, etc., etc. And this is more on the summary. So this is the part where I think it's general. I think personally, I think it's best for individuals to talk about either their experiences, so where they've been, what they've done, and where they want to be and where they go on. So again, talk about your elevator pitch, kind of like your aspirations and your accomplishments in the past. Now that everybody hopefully has a LinkedIn profile set up and ready to go, it's time to start building our professional network. This is the time where we'll connect with other people, explore and discover new connections, and also search for people that could be like-minded or could be good people to reach out to about our business idea too. So this is the time. Now, LinkedIn has a very cool concept. Every time you visit somebody's profile or you see somebody's name on LinkedIn, there will be a small number next to their name. It will be 1, 2, or 3 plus. Now, the number means how far away is this person within your network. So if you think about every person that you add directly, if this person in the middle is you, these are all the individuals that you have in your network. You've added them and you've connected with them on LinkedIn. So these are your first degree connections. These are the people you have direct access to. You can send them a message and you can chat with them if you wanted to. Now, these people have their own networks around them. And if they have a connection with somebody whom you don't know, they would be your second degree connection. Now, this is a little bit important to understand because it'll help you find out where you stand in regards to other people that you come across in different groups or different channels on LinkedIn. Now, you have to think about expanding your network in a strategic way. So before you start going on LinkedIn and adding everybody you can think of, and just adding anybody who comes up, even people that you don't know, take a minute to think about what is it that you're most interested in, and how would you be able to find people who share that interest with you, and what's the best way to make a meaningful connection? Because it's quite easy to just send connection requests to people, and a lot of them might accept. But if you don't ever talk to them, or have a conversation with them, meet them out in a business function or an event, then those relationships, they're not going to be very useful in the long term. So what you want to do is you want to focus on starting this journey right. So when you want to connect with someone, send them a message, introduce yourself, tell them what it is that you do, and why is it that you think it would be good for you to connect. One of the things that I do in order for this to happen, um, I usually find like a recent publication that somebody's been a part of or has done, and I send them a connection request. And I tell them, hey, I really enjoyed reading this article or this post that you wrote. It was very insightful. This is an area that's very interesting to me. I would love to connect with you. And if they accept my connection request, then I send a message following up, asking them if we can schedule a 15-minute Zoom call to have a chat and discuss the article. And that's how I start friendships with people who were previously strangers but are now very good acquaintances of mine. And a lot of them also lead to friendships. Now, this is in terms of like what we've talked about so far has been in terms of finding new people to connect with. But what about the people you already know? This is where the search function becomes very handy, because there are a lot of people that we all know in our everyday life who are also professionals in their own lives, and we can connect with them. So everybody in this Zoom call right now, everybody here has a LinkedIn account now. So you could find us and connect and grow your network inside of LinkedIn. And you can also connect with your mentor and your coach in your TERN program. So make sure to do that. What you want to do is at the top of LinkedIn, there's a little search box, and you can search for people's names. So if you know somebody's name, you type it in there and you can find them and connect with them. Or you can also search by their email addresses. If you know what their email address is, you can try that if you don't find them by their name. And once you do, you just click on the little blue connect button, and then it will bring up another page, a tiny screen, where you can add a note. You can send a message with your connection request. So you can tell them, hey, like I'm sending you this connection request because XYZ. Now, the search function, where you put people's name in, it also has a bunch of filters. This will help us find people easier. So you can filter people based on how far they are inside of your network. So when you put in second, it means that you have a mutual connection with them. So you know somebody who knows this person. And oftentimes, if it's like a case where you feel like you need an introduction, you can appeal and ask your mutual connection, hey, for example, Ellie, I'm interested in meeting this person that you know. Would you be able to please make an introduction for me? And this is how you can network and get access to people who otherwise you wouldn't have access to previously. You can also filter people based on location, where do they work now, what their job title is, and a lot of other filters where which we will play around on our own in the breakout rooms. Now, yeah, so this is the connection part. So once you find the person that you want to connect with and you click on the connect button, there's a little box where you can type in a small message, and they will see this message when they get your connection request. And this is important because if you're trying to connect with people who don't know you or haven't met you in person, this is the part where you convince them why it's best for them to connect with you. So it's kind of like a little sales pitch of why is it good for them to know you and stay in touch with you. And you can also customize this invitation based on the person that you're trying to connect with. as you can see in this example right here. Now, in our LinkedIn profile, we can also ask our existing network to give us referrals or recommendations. This is when other people vouch for you. And we discussed this a little bit in the last section, but I think it's touching down and again. So you can ask your TERN coach and your TERN mentors to give you referrals and recommendations because they've worked with you very closely over the last few months and they know you pretty well. So this is a great way of actually starting to building your referrals and recommendation section of your profile. This will be very helpful when other people visit your profile and they want to see who you are, and this kind of social validation will paint you in a very positive light. There are a lot of people on LinkedIn, almost anybody you can think of, especially if they're very famous, they are very likely to be on LinkedIn. You can follow them. Now, this doesn't mean that you're one of their connections or that you can send them a direct message and start chatting with them, but it means you can benefit from the information that they share. And, a lot of people share a lot of good information. So think about some of the influential people that you know and like, and search for them, find their accounts and follow them. And whenever they post something new, you will see it inside of your LinkedIn. And it's a really good way of keeping up to date. But you can also follow companies. So if you have a competitor who has a LinkedIn page and you want to keep up to date with their progress and seeing what they're doing, what they're up to, you can also follow their LinkedIn and see what they're posting about. And like also if you're like looking for a job on LinkedIn, then following companies can be a good way to connect with them and apply to the jobs that they have. And last but not least, find groups that are relevant for you and find content. There's a lot of good content on LinkedIn. There's a lot of tutorials. There's a lot of knowledge shared every day, every minute. And to find them, you need to be in the right groups. So find what is the most important one to you. For example, you can search for mental health in LinkedIn, and you can find a lot of groups targeted around mental health. And those topics that are discussed in the groups can be very beneficial for you. Or you can find groups around salesmanship if you want to become a better salesperson. So search for groups, find out what groups would be best for you to join, and actually go and join them. Now, the final tips, it's important to keep engaged with your network. LinkedIn is a great way of connecting with people, but if nobody hears from you for weeks, months, they're not going to remember you. They're going to, you're not going to be at the top of their mind. So if you want to have good relationship with people, it's important to try and stay engaged and stay connected, like their posts, leave a comment, send a message, follow up, check in with people from time to time. It all helps to build great connections and great relationships. And the more time you invest in these, the more you'll get out of those relationships. And also give endorsements and recommendations, and don't forget to ask them for some back, because it'll help make your profile a lot nicer. It'll help your profile stand out, and it will show to other people your expertise, your strengths, and how much other people like you. So a lot of social validation in those things. Now, with that, it brings our session to an end for today. If you've been to any of our TERN Skills session previously, you know that we really like feedback. Please take a minute or two out of your day, take out your phone, scan the QR code on the screen, leave us some feedback about the session today. What do you think worked well? What you didn't like so much? It all helps us improve as we move forward. And we have some exciting plans for the TERN Skills in the next 6 months, and every comment and piece of feedback will help us improve it as we go on.